Every year, thousands of African workers go on a grueling journey to the rich Persian Gulf countries in the hope of escaping war, death, and destitution. With luck on their side, they might end up finding hard manual labor with meager wages just to continue their hand-to-mouth existence. With a run of bad luck, these migrant laborers should brace themselves for a fate worse than death. What has actually befallen thousands of Ethiopian workers stranded in Saudi Arabia in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic.
الحادث اللي حدث مؤلم جدا لجميع السعوديين.
It was in late August that the Sunday Telegraph dropped the bombshell. Thousands of African workers were locked in detention centers across the country under inhumane, unsanitary conditions. With their smuggled mobile phones, some of the migrants gave the newspaper a snapshot of life, or in better word, death, in these hellish centers. According to Adam Kugel of Human Rights Watch, photos emerging from detention centers in southern Saudi Arabia show that authorities there are subjecting Horn of Africa migrants to squalid, crowded, and dehumanizing conditions with no regard for their safety or dignity.
Lots of people have gone to Saudi Arabia and they know just how dreadful the treatment of immigrants and refugees and actual workers are. And this thing about the Ethiopians is just consistent with all the terrible things they do to third country nationals.
This is what some of these migrant workers shared their harrowing experiences with the Sunday Telegraph. My only crime is leaving my country in search of a better life. But they beat us with whips and electric cords as if we were murderers. It's hell in here. We're treated like animals and beaten every day. If I see that there is no escape, I will take my own life. Others have already. We eat a tiny piece of bread in the day and rice in the evening. There's almost no water and the toilets are overflowing. It spills over to where we eat. Plenty of inmates are suicidal or suffering from mental illnesses as a result of living this for 5 months. COVID-19? Who knows? There are a lot of diseases here. Everyone is sick here. Everyone has something. A young boy, about 16, managed to hang himself last month. The guards just throw the body out back as if it was trash. We have been left to die here.
There is no conscience. There is no sense of God. There is no. These are the custodians of the supposedly 2 holy mosques. Yet they do not behave like that. The Saudis behave like unreconstructed Nazis, full of hate, full of antagonism, full of just vile evil for people who are not able to protect themselves, to treat these Ethiopians in this particular way.
As part of its campaign to control the COVID-19 pandemic, Riyadh gathered around migrant workers who would live in crowded houses across the kingdom. In these centers, which look like squalid slave camps in Libya, the migrant workers are treated like animals. As one of the richest countries in the world, there is no excuse for the kingdom to hold the Ethiopians in such terrible conditions. In the words of Nadia Hartman of Human Rights Watch, we repeat our call on Saudi Arabia to immediately release the most vulnerable and improve the miserable conditions for the thousands that remain.
Unfortunately, respect for human life is a completely alien concept in the Saudi mind. They do not respect human life. They respect to a very limited degree the lives of some Saudis, but not the majority of the people. And when it comes to non-Saudis, they have no value. There's a German phrase, which I can't remember, but it's something like Untermenschen, undervalued lives. And that is the Saudi belief towards all non-Saudis.
And while social distancing is a must in fighting COVID-19, in these centers the migrants are packed like sardines. The Al-Shumaisi Center, located near the holy city of Mecca, is a horrid case in point. According to Ethiopia's Consul General in Jeddah, Abdul Yassin, Jeddah has over 53 prisons. Ethiopians are held in every one of them. If you take the one at Al-Shumaisi, there are about 16,000 Ethiopians kept in the prison and the holding cells. Many of these poor workers have been languishing since April. There are many accounts of deaths coming out of these centers as a result of disease, heart stroke, and suicide. A short video clip leaked out shows rooms covered with filth from an overflowing toilet. With no help coming from the Saudi staff to fix the clogged toilet, the migrants have to eat and sleep among the sewage.
From my experience of Saudi Arabia, the very idea of human rights is alien to the Saudi mentality, certainly from the point of view of the Crown Prince, MBS. There is no concept of human rights. They just does not exist. It's not a question. They don't recognize any of the international conventions. They don't recognize any of the obligations of their religion. They do not recognize any of the normal requirements of civilized life.
The fact is, racism is deep-rooted in Saudi Arabia, and black migrant workers enjoy only few rights at best and are treated inhumanely as if they were slaves. Many of them complain of exploitation and sexual and racial abuse from their Saudi employers. The oil-rich kingdom has long been exploiting workers coming from poor African countries. In June 2019, around 6.6 million foreign workers made up about 20% of the Saudi Arabia population, many of them holding low-paid, physically tough jobs.
The general mass of Africans, the Saudis were lacking any respect for. This has gone back many, many years. It's not just a new phenomenon. The Saudis, remember, and the Arabs were of that part of the world, were very much involved in the African slave trade. And from those times, their lack of respect for the Africans has continued. Remember, when I first went to Saudi Arabia, the slave market in Jeddah had only just been closed. I have photographs of it, and this was only closed as a technicality. It's not really been closed. Many of the young ladies and people who are working for the Saudis in homes, they are effectively slave labor.
Away from the prying eyes, the Saudis have been keeping thousands of African workers in squalid places under deplorable conditions. Given the Saudis' mistreatment of African labor, black lives seem to be that last issue to matter in the Saudi kingdom.